The folks who came out here sent out a message that they want the charges to be dropped, first of all, for all of the students.
Amani, what's the situation there?
Well, people are already cleaning up here. Claudia Terry Shivo has now entered her second night. We're still waiting to learn the identity of the woman whose body was found in this field right behind me. This all started with a disturbance that happened at the Tropic Isle Motel. If you're not a Florida fan, don't be a Gator hater, be a congratulator. That hurt. Now the family says Holmes knew the suspect Wilson Santil on a first-name basis, and now a split Florida Supreme Court has ruled against the governor. Atlanta's ordinance is being modeled after a similar one that passed unanimously in this 18-page confidential report obtained by HD News. But just take a look at this example of the strength of the storm. The Haynes family hopes to rebuild, but say they know it's going to take a lot of cleanup, time, and help. The training for these dogs starts at birth before they can even see, and it's 24 months of intense coaching. Parents we spoke to agree that something needs to be done to improve the education for their children. Hello, and welcome to UR-TV. I'm Amani Channel. The UR stands for Urban Reporters, and it's our name for citizen journalists. This was the response after Tropical Storm Fay dumped record-setting rains, up to 30 inches.
I can't believe it flooded like this, you know. I didn't know rain could pick up that quick. Never experienced a flood in my life.
It wasn't predicted to just kind of get here and stop, so that just caught everybody off guard.
Several hundred homes are underwater in Brevard County. Early damage estimates stand at $12 million. The hardest hit area, this senior community called Lamplighter Village. Everything is underwater.
We've seen water as high as 4 to 5 feet, and the only way we're going to get in there is with this.
State wildlife officers use this swamp buggy to help residents escape. The Florida National Guard showed up with Humvees. Even so, there were some who refused to leave.
This is not a week of fun, this is a week of seriousness, and it's a week to stay focused on Fay, and we will do exactly that.
Governor Charlie Crist says Fay is a catastrophic event. He's been visiting emergency operations centers and the hardest hit areas since the storm hit. Flood victims say they need help.
People are going to need help financially, I'm sure, with everything, and no one in here, I think, has flood insurance.
Hopefully FEMA will be involved, and also with the St. John's Water Management District, who controls the flooding and the gates, that they can pump this water out as fast as possible.
People who are now trying to recover in the hardest hit areas say they almost would have preferred a hurricane because many have never had to deal with flooding of this magnitude. It will be days, if not weeks, before things begin to dry out. While Fay slowly crawls, it soaks everything in her path. In high definition, Amani Channel, Boom HD News, Melbourne, Florida. This was simply an amazing and terrifying chase to watch, and deputies say without the all-seeing eyes of our very own Skyfox pilot Randy Powers, this suspect, Juan Edgardo Rivera IV, may still be out on the streets. Instead, he's now in Pinellas County Jail, and in this high-speed chase, there were simply too many close calls to count. The white Pontiac Grand Prix speeds through the streets of Pinellas Park, reaching 100 miles per hour at times.
This was indeed very reckless, very dangerous, and it had to come to an end quickly.
Skyfox hovered above. Deputies were looking for the vehicle. They say moments before, the driver hit a Clearwater police officer during a routine traffic stop. Clearwater police called off the chase.
I was then told that Fox 13 helicopter was following the vehicle. I responded to the area.
The car drove into a residential area on 62nd Street. That's where deputies first spotted it. There's a slight collision with Sergeant Michael Peasley. The suspect is forced off the road but doesn't stop.
My initial thought was get this stopped immediately. I notified our units over the air several times to do whatever it takes to stop this vehicle via either stop sticks, boxing in, or the pit technique.
As deputies gave chase, the suspect drove onto a sidewalk. Watch as he narrowly missed this pedestrian. He then drives into the Lowe's parking lot on Park Boulevard, where deputies try to stop him again. He hits a shopping cart, then heads south on Belcher, when Sergeant Jason Lyons used his car to end it.
We look for opportunity. The technique has to be performed with precision, and it has to be done in a safe manner. That opportunity presented itself, and we had to take it. This guy was out of control.
Very many tense moments indeed during this chase. Now the suspect, Juan Edgardo Rivera, this is his mugshot. He's facing 2 counts of aggravated battery on a law enforcement officer, fleeing and eluding. His license has been suspended, and he's also facing other possible charges. He, of course, remains in jail tonight. This could have been a very, very worse outcome with this chase. Of course, he's now in jail, and no one was hurt, which is very amazing in this situation, as you saw from those pictures. Although Cooper suffered serious injuries from the bites she suffered, it's still unclear whether there was some sort of foul play involved. Was she injured in the waters? Was she drowning? Those are questions we just don't know right now. That's why a trapper has set up this bait in this canal and in several other areas around this area, and the search for this gator continues. The search continues for the gator that may have killed 43-year-old Judy Cooper. Her arms were missing when a person in the East Lake Woodlands neighborhood discovered her body in this canal Sunday. The news has devastated her family.
She must have struggled with that and been terrified.
I wanted to see her for Mother's Day. I wish I could have helped her.
Her family has no idea how this could have happened or how Cooper wound up in the neighborhood because they say she didn't live here. The preliminary autopsy shows the gator bites had something to do with her death, but the exact cause hasn't been determined.
If the alligator was involved in the attack, it might be a few days before he's ready to eat again. So we may or may not have to come in here at night, see if we can see his eyes.
And this would be the third fatal attack within a week. Statewide, there have only been 17 fatal gator attacks reported in 53 years. Wildlife officials don't have an explanation.
Alligator incidents are unfortunate, but at this far are unrelated in as far as any kind of relation to time of year or anything like that. This is obviously a time of heightened activity for the alligators.
The weather is warming, it's mating season, so people need to be especially careful. The trapper showed us the other gators he caught in other neighborhoods and says we need to always be aware of the danger.
What I usually tell people when we run into them in the field is if you have water, expect an alligator. Not expecting an alligator in the water is like walking out into a road, not expecting there to be a car.
Very timely reminders indeed. Now, we have learned more about Cooper. She was from the Newport Richey area. She has 2 children, and her family says she suffered from an addiction problem. She was actually trying to seek help for this addiction problem, but they hadn't heard from her in about 3 months. Then they got a phone call from her on Friday, and then Sunday she turned up in this canal.